Good morning, listeners and viewers. Chris here and Nick here with another episode of Coaching Conversations. Nick, how are you this morning?
Oh, very good. Ready to rumble. It's a beautiful day outside, man. And
It is.
I can't wait to be out there, to be honest.
Yeah, good.
It's perfect.
Energy's flowing still from the weekend. It's good when we have a break because obviously we get to recharge those batteries. I think it's important to recharge the batteries, which gives you that kind of kickstart to really get moving early in the week, right?
I'm with you. And I think, when it's a beautiful day, it just makes life good, right? The week's got to start somewhere. That's good with that too.
Australia is one of the greatest countries for weather. I lived in the UK for a year, and it's grey like 80% of the year. I reckon.
300 days.
Yeah, sunshine's good. Right, let's kick into the questions this morning. Got a really good one. This is related for people in retail or the retail sector right now. If you sell anything in a retail environment, you're going to want to listen to this question, grab a pen and pay attention. So my question to Nick is, what advice do you have for anybody that is operating in retail right now, particularly if you run a kind of brick and mortar style retail business, whether you've got a clothing shop, you sell candles, you sell t-shirts, you sell footwear, it doesn't matter. But if you're in the position where you are actually paying for retail space and you're not just online, what's your advice for business owners in that area right now?
Yeah, first of all, that's a great question, Chris. I think today, as we're filming this podcast, or, for the listeners that are listening to this podcast on audio, the world has changed. We're I'm going to say post-COVID, we're through COVID, but, it's not like anybody on this planet doesn't know COVID, right? So, and to me, the environment's changed. And I've sort of got three typical areas, I think, that need to be looked at. But let me start by giving you a bit of a story. So I've got a vacuum cleaner, a Dyson, and it's one of those stick vacuums. And I've had it forever, stopped working. It's like 3 or 4 years old, something like that. Stopped working. I just never had any time. And I've got 2 other vacuum cleaners out of use. Anyway, a friend of mine goes and he said, dude, I just took my one in and they repaired it. He goes and they gave it back to me. I'm like, cool. So I dropped it in, not too far from where we are, the main headquarters actually of Dyson Global.
Right.
And take it in, and they're like, oh, look, let me get all your details, leave it with us, and we'll let you know if you want it. Once we have a look at it, we can repair it. Anyway, they come back to me within 8 days. They said within 8 days, come back to me within 8 days, and they say, look, we can replace all of this stuff, the head, the tube, the floor thing, all of these things. So literally, I'm just looking at it because I hung it up in my office. You can literally replace all of it, and it's the V6 model. So the new one's like the V8 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it pulls the tiles up. Whatever. So anyway, so I do it, and it's capped at $190 brand new, and they're like $3,499.
Yeah.
For the cheapest one, and
for the little one.
$600 for the other one.
Yeah.
Anyway, cut long story short, it's brand new. So number one, the customer service from Dyson was outstanding. They thought we'd do this. They send you a text, send you the email, very detailed with the email, told me exactly what was going to thing, what the label was, and literally, it replaced. So I go to pick it up. I'm like, cool. And I'm like, I don't have a charger for it. They're like, cool, here, just have a charger, right? Free of charge. Normally they're like $30 or something to buy, right?
Right.
So strike two was, key two was,
Mark two.
Just gave me something for free. Anyway, and then I'm like, oh, you know what? I need a wall hanger, like you can put this bracket on the wall, so you just clip the vacuum in and it charges while it does it. So I send them back an email. I'm like, hey, can I buy it from you? Because I looked on eBay and it's like $30 or $40 or something. So they're like, you know what? Hey, just to say thank you, a little bit of gratitude on us for, using Dyson, come and pick one up on Saturday. So Saturday I go out because they're open Saturday morning or whatever it is. I go out, she gives it to me, and she goes, oh, do you know how to put the charger? I'm like, oh, I've never sort of done it before. So she gets another brand new charger, feeds it through because it sits kind of flush, feeds it through and goes, here you go. I'm like, oh, you've got the charger. She goes, don't worry, just take it with the charger. Have a great day. Same thing. So there's 3 kind of keys that came out of that for me, especially where it comes to retail. Number one, you got to really listen to what your client's trying to tell you. I was happy to purchase it. It wasn't that. I was more than happy to do it. And, when I rang them then to ask them about, can you just take me through the invoice to tell me a bit more about with the vacuum? Is there going to be warranty, all that stuff? She goes, yeah, literally, it's a brand new machine. Now I could have gone, don't change that or don't change that, whatever it is. But for $190, I've got a brand new machine with 1 year warranty on it, same thing. So number one, I think in retail today, the edits that we need to do is absolutely 1,000,000% have to listen to what our clients are telling us. And that could be whether it's price modification. I don't want to pay the full price that I used to pay. COVID scenarios need to be a little bit different. And you've got to on a sweet spot. I'm not saying that you need to drop your prices so there's no money. It's not just about the price itself, but you're just listening to what's the sweet spot, right?
Yep.
That number one. Number two, I think it's important to really think about how can you add really, really good extra services to the client without having to, cost you an arm and a leg, but it's something small that people absolutely love. They didn't have to go, hey, come and pick this wall bracket up. They could have gone, yeah, it's $30. And I would have gone there because it's easy. Rather than ordering on eBay, you got to wait. I could have just had, because I wanted to just put it in on Saturday. 2 screws. Right. Anyway, so I thought that was really cool. When somebody does that little extra, with us, we like sending boxes or gifts.
Yeah, gift boxes.
All of those type of things. One of our clients, dinner for two, all of these type of things, the little extras that you don't really get paid for. And they cost you some time and some money off the bottom end. But, just the satisfaction that the client gets is really, really cool. So I thought that was cool, So those two, I think, are really important. And number three, I think you've just got to look at what's that client worth to you. Not only worth to you financially, but what's it worth to the company for them to be able to tell good stories to everybody else. So with me now, there's, hundreds, if not thousands of people that have watched this, right? And our tribe and all the rest of the stuff. Now, about it, everybody else is going to know about it because I'm going to talk about if somebody goes, oh, Dyson, I'm going to go, hey, this was the great experience that I had, like my mate had. It was under the house. I was going to throw it, to be honest, because it wasn't working. I'm like, you know what? What's the worst thing they could do? Throw it themselves. So I took it to them. Now I'm an advocate once again for Dyson. Could I possibly buy a different Dyson product, like the bladeless fan or the hair dryer? Not for me, but they've got the hair straighteners, all that stuff. There are all these different products that they've got. See, now guess what? I've become an advocate of them. If they said, hey, could you give me a review? I'm going to do that. So this is currency. So this is really important, retail owners. Today, currency isn't just about purchasing from you. It's not just about the interchange of money for your product or service. To be brutally honest, the currency of reviews, testimonials, posting stuff, sharing stuff on social media is 10 times more than what the money is that you're actually getting for the product. And like I know, Chris, with us, we give away magazines, books, all those type of things. That the books, it's $10, $15 by the time you send it. It's when you have to send 30 books, it's $450. But we only need one client to go, geez, that was a nice touch. I wasn't expecting it. Boom, let's talk some, money for the product that you sell. Or hey, guess what? Look at this coach. They sent us stuff. Our new client Oliver, when we sent him a little gift for his baby, like he just reviewed, like he's like, dude, I've never seen a coaching company that cares so much about their clients. To be honest, and, so to me, I think those three parts are very, very, very
right. So I guess if you're going to encapsulate it, it's about creating an amazing amount of customer goodwill, keeping that relationship really vibrant and close and exceeding their expectation in some way, just like Dyson did for you.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've just had two people come out for a quote for ducted air conditioning in my house. And right now is the best time for air conditioning. In winter, they're not as flat out as they are in summer.
Yeah.
One that came just from Facebook. I don't know him from BioSoap. Another one that was a referral. And the guy came out referral on the Friday and the other people came out on the Saturday, right? Showed up, right? The first guy that was referral, I was supposed to show up, mate. I forgot all about it. I'll see you next week. Anyway, he comes. He goes, cool, has a look. He goes, mate, send me a text. Send me your email and I'll send you your email stuff on a text and I'll send you an email. 1 week, week and a half, 2 weeks, nothing. The other guy comes in on a Saturday, shows up on time, they book it, comes here, by 2 hours later, I've got it in here. So cut long story short, my brother-in-law knows him. He lives in his street, like it's a small world. So he has a chat to him and, we're always going to do a deal somewhere here, right?
Yeah,
So
sure.
anyway, he calls him and the guy rings me on Friday. He goes, look, this is how much it is. I can do you a discount. I'm like, dude, I've got a particular budget. Here's how much I want to pay, roughly. So we're negotiating, right? And it's cheap. I've say 1,500 at least.
Great.
Anyway, we could do it in a day. The other guy, nothing, not even. And this is a referral, right? So yeah, that's what I was saying, because I was supposed to encapsulate this. It's about what does the client experience look like from pre them knowing about you. So that's called it the marketing advertising phase, all the way to after they've done business with you. And I think today in retail, if we're not online, if you don't make it easy for the client, if they come into store and you don't treat them perfectly, you're just going to be behind the eight ball. That's the change today, post-COVID. People today are very cautious. They're worried about where they invest their money. And most importantly, they're worried, should they even invest it? So if there's an iota of, average service, don't get back to people, be arrogant, don't treat people beautifully.
Yes.
You don't have to be that much more amazing for somebody else. This guy just showed up and he sent me an invoice. That's it. Like, it's crazy, right?
Right.
That's it. And followed up.
Okay, well, there you go, retail owners. If you've got a business, brick and mortar style particularly, or you have to go round, service is a brilliant example. It's those really that are playing the game at a higher level in terms of looking after their customers and providing that higher level of service. I feel that they're the ones that are actually going to win out, over the next 6 to 12 months, because the ones that don't provide that level of service are going to drop off the face of the business earth. So it's important. If grab those three points that Nick was speaking about and really make sure that you're involving them within your, customer care strategy, if you want to call it that. Right. Quick question around cash flow now, Nick. Obviously, every business in some way, shape or form, whether it's startup or growing, may struggle with cash flow at some point in time. But I want to ask for some cash flow tips, and we might do this throughout some of the episodes coming as well. But I know that invoicing is something that's incredibly important. A lot of business owners sometimes forget to do their invoicing, or they struggle to do it on a frequent basis, or even put the right due date or anything on it. And that all helps to speed up cash flow. But I guess kicking off from today, what would be a really solid cash flow tip for people running their businesses? Good
question. I mean, cash flow is a simple formula. It's the volume of money in. Think of it like you've got a bucket and you're putting water in, the level versus how much money out. So, and 99% of the times there's more money out than money in, right? And a lot of the times here's the reason why. Number one, you've already started behind the eight ball, right? So you're trying to run a business that demands high level of cash flow without enough cash flow. So it's like, I'm going to drive to Perth from Sydney, but I just keep on putting $5 at a time in.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? You're sort of running on fumes. You top it up a bit, run on fumes, top it up. So that's usually number one. And number two, it's cash management. So some people are actually spending money where they don't need to spend money, and a lot of it versus the cash flow that they're coming in, because either they've geared their lifestyle up to a particular level or their business up to a particular level.
Yes.
And I can't throw any glass stones. I'm the first person to admit that my money management previously hasn't been as good as what it could be, but now I've learned, right?
Yeah.
And it's the little things, high levels of rent, and you're not utilizing that space. Spending money on stuff that isn't giving you ROI. There's all of these things that happen. So number one, I believe in cash flow, the first thing to do is understand that cash flow is a habit, or money management is a habit. If you get in the habit of managing money better, rather than it manage you, you'll manage it. I think that's pretty simple, right?
Cool.
Now, cash flow tips. I always think that in order for you to put money away, and we've heard this let's say the world famous book, The Richest Man in Babylon, that said, get 10% of your money and put it away and pay yourself first. So, the new book that we've been talking about, like, I think, is it Pay It First? Is it?
The book Profit First?
Profit First.
Yep.
I mean, it's literally based on that principle of pay yourself first.
Yes, that's right.
They call it Profit First, and it's the same principle, right? So what I'm saying here is when you get money in for whatever you were selling, or whatever wares that you sell, product, service, whatever it is, it's important to take a little fragment of it, a percentage of it. Now, the richest man in Babylon says 10%. Maybe 10% is not doable, but is 2%, is 3%, is 4%, is 5%. So as an example, if you've got $100 sale, can you take $5 out of that $100 sale and just put that away straight away? And the answer probably is yes, right?
Yeah.
So number one is you need to put a percentage out of that away. Now, when I mean away, you cannot touch that account for at least in business, probably 12 months, because you need to let it kind of grow. You don't plant seeds and then you're digging it out because there's no tomatoes on there. It takes a while for the tree to grow. And even once it's grown, until the flower comes and then the tomato comes, you can't hack the branches off or else there's going to be nothing there, right? So you just got to remember, I said money management is really, really critical and getting in the habit of change, right? So put that aside. So it's a non-negotiable fund that you can't access. And if you can't access it online and you've got to go to the bank, it's even better. So you don't get any temptation, right? Now, people go, Nick, well, I just can't even pay for that. I need to use all the money. I'm like, well, if you want to break out of this cycle, you got to figure it out. Now, in business, I like to call this a load fund. So all the clients that I work with, when I coach them, I'm like, we've got to open up a load fund. So as an example, let's say, I'm working with a company that they do maintenance. So on each job of those maintenance, what we've done is we've added a percentage or a fixed amount, like $100 extra or $50 extra if it's a small job. So if it's, let's say it's a $300 job, we call it $350. That's what we invoice the client as long as the client's cool. And then we pick up that 50 and we put that aside. It doesn't dig into their profit. I don't care if you make it $10, $20. If you're a massage therapist and you're normally 70, you can charge 80, just add some more value. And that $10 you can put aside, right? So tip number one. Number two, I think it's really, really important to go, where's the money all going to and how can we take at least 0.5% to 1% off every month reduction. And 0.5% to 1%.
That's from expenses, correct?
From expenses.
Yeah. Great.
And that may not sound like much, but people go, Nick, how can I even reduce it? I'm like, you know what? 1%, if it's costing you $50,000 a month to get out, 1% may not sound like much. 10% is $5,000, right? 1% is $500 in a whole month. You've got 30 days to find out $500. It's less than $20 a day. Maybe your $20 a day is taking sandwiches with you to work and, instant coffee instead of going out for a $5 coffee every day. Right? And I'm being extreme here, but if you really want to save, that 500 times 12 months is $6,000. $6,000 now sitting in your account for cash flow.
Yes.
Right? And if you've got a $600,000 business per year, you've already got 1% of cash flow sitting there. So it's just going to accumulate, and that's only at that. Now, could you do 2% or 3%, or whatever it may be? Right? That's the next tip. And the final tip for cash flow is, so, you've got the load, you're really reducing the bottom end, compoundingly. How can I then increase the top end? So how can I go, well, usually my product is $1,000. How can I make it $1,100? But in order for me to go up, how do I show another $500 worth of service? Remember, we were just talking about this. How do you add the little things, the dice and stuff? Hey, can I give you this, but you can purchase this? Hey, if you purchase this, I'll give you this. That kind of mindset. Because once again, if you increase that margin, even if it's small, if you do 20 jobs at $1,000 every month, that's $20,000 for the month. If you add, even if it's $50 to each one, 20 times 50, well, you've got an extra 1,000. So do you see 1,000 times 12 is 12,000, then $6,000 saving at the bottom end. Now you've got an $18,000 cash flow. Literally, you've saved 1 month over a year in cash flow.
Yeah.
You see, it's a chip. That's how it needs to be done. Yep.
Yeah, that's good. So it's all about compound improvements here, and then compounding in terms of cash flow, whether it's profits, decreasing expenses, or increasing your prices just a tiny bit, which is good. So just a question to segue off that then, because you said money management is a habit. What if your habit is robbing Peter to pay Paul. And some people might, understand what I'm saying here. They have money in different accounts, but some months are, hard. So they've got to pull from one account to pay the other. How do you develop the discipline so that you're not doing that? You mentioned, setting up a bank account, we have to go into the branch to actually access the money. Yes, that removes the convenience. But a lot of this is money habit. So how do you develop the discipline internally to go, no, I can't touch it. It's out of sight, out of mind. Do you just figure out another way? What's the process
that's interesting. My man used to say something, and I know it's a saying in Maltese, but in Maltese it says, basically, the saying translated is, give bread to the people that know how to eat it, right? And
Right.
what does that mean? It means that, if you've got something that could cause you a lot of grief, I know you've got a lump growing, I don't know, your tooth's aching, you could kind of probably figure it out yourself and hack it out or pull it out or get somebody to do that for you. That's a mate.
Yeah.
But the best way to do it is go and see a specialist.
Good idea.
So I think in order, you know what I mean?
Good advice. Do not buy a pair of pliers and go to your friend's house.
My man, he's never used to, he's fixing everything. He's that guy. But it's funny, right? There's certain things that he just wasn't good at. Electric, he could build your house, but electrical, man, he's never touching it because he knows it's bad day, right? And we've all had a zap, I've been electrocuted, everyone's had some type of run-in with electricity, and it doesn't feel good at all, right? So,
no.
So one of the things that I understand where it comes to that, number one, get professional help. If you can't manage money because you've never been brought up like that, if you don't have the discipline for that, it's very difficult. Now, if not, and you want to do this yourself, I think that there's a process. Number one, you've really got to commit yourself mentally. It's well before the body part of it. It's mentally. Are you ready to change what you do? Funny, we know clients ourselves that doesn't matter what you tell them or prospects. We just spoke about somebody before. You can lead the horse to water, but if they don't want to change, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how much value you add. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter. They're just not seeing it. They're not ready to see it.
Yep.
So if you're somebody that's just out of control where it comes to money, especially in business, well, guess what? You might want to look at your habits and go, right now, is my business in the best place that it can be, and has the model worked? And if it hasn't worked, well, it's trying to smack you in the face, but you're just not, you're pushing through it, right?
Yeah.
So you need to think about it. Is my business viable? It's an important question that we never, ever ask ourselves, right? And in some cases, no, it isn't. You've got to shut down, start again. That's the honest truth of it. So I think, if you're going to do it yourself, do it that way. If not, I think seek professional help. There's so many great people, great bookkeeper, somebody that is really good with financial management, financial planners, all of these things, accountant, all these people that can help you. That's number one, right? Number two, if you're going to do it yourself, you need to have your mind ready to change that habit, right? It's important. And then the third part is, what are you going to mimic? And here's what I mean by this. If you're hanging out with other friends that just blast money, they don't care, they're never thinking, they're living day to day, paycheck to paycheck, and they're like that, surely you're probably going to make decisions where you go, live for today, don't worry about tomorrow. I've got $100 that I could save for my cash flow. Instead, let's go and buy 2 cases of beer and just go, and get pissed. That's the choices that people make. I love the Dumb and Dumber where, he goes, we've only got this much amount. Go to the shop and get the basics. We need the basics. So Jim Carrey comes out with a big foam hat, case of beer, beef jerky or something like that. It's just like, totally out, right? You see, so some people make decisions that are just like, what are you thinking? If cash flows are trying to think, don't go spending shit that you don't really need today. And usually it's because they're making decisions by hanging out with people that make those decisions.
Yes.
For me, I looked at, is the model working effectively? And, we've made millions of dollars, but we've burnt probably more millions on what we've made in the past. But now I look at it differently and go, you know what? There needs to be cash flow. There needs to be, right? And you need to just be, I'm going to use the word religious. If you think about money as strong as you think about your beliefs, and that becomes a part of your belief system,
Yes.
now there's the shift for you. Do you see? So for me, I've gone, well, I'm entering an era where the next 10 to 15 years for me is probably the maximum amount that I'm going to be working or wanting to work or any of that type of stuff. So I'm like, well, what nest eggs do I need to set up? And I've been thinking about this for a long time. I've already set up some nest eggs, and it's been difficult. Right, with anything, every business is up and down. But I've put money aside. I've got property. I've done all of these things, and I keep on thinking, what's the best way forward? And guess what? I hang out with other people that talk about money, talk about property, talk about cool things, investments. I mean, today, funny enough, cars are an investment. If you've got an Australian muscle car, as an example, or a boat, or any of these things, like Australian muscle car. If you bought it 20 years ago, today it's worth, like a car that was worth 10 grand max is 100 grand today. It's an investment and it's never going to go down. So do you see there's opportunities to go, I can still have fun, still put money aside, still save. You could use that cash flow fund instead of buying property to buy muscle car, because those type of things today are investments just as good as what gold used to be, or antique furniture used to be. Do you see? So there's a lot of cool things that you can do now with money if you understand where it's at. And I know it's a bit left field, but I'm into cars and boats and all that type of stuff. So for me, I'm like, 100 grand for a muscle car, that's a lot, but that 100 grand is going up. Some type of cars, funny enough, are worth, like if you've got like what's called a GT HO, like if you've got a HO, they're $1 million. 750 grand, $1 million. They stopped people from overseas buying them because they were taking them out of the country because they're like an Aussie icon. This is the car that was 3.5 grand brand new in the 1969. Wow. It's insane, right? Like, so do you see, just you can have fun with money. That's kind of the principle I'm trying to get to, and save and be religious about it and hang out with cool people around money. The opposite to that is just keep on doing whatever you're doing and keep blasting through the money, and then wondering why you don't have anything, or wondering why, everybody's an enemy where it comes if they're not paying you on time, all of these things that happen throughout business.
Yeah. So that's the point there. I think you said being religious about it, changing the way, it's almost like changing your money beliefs in regards to how you see money. If you're not happy with where you are right now, or what you have, or how your business is running in regards to its money or financial situation, you need to start investing that form of change from your own mindset, but start changing your money beliefs and how you view and use money, either in your personal life, in your business, investments, whatever. I think that's really sound advice. So thanks for that, Nick. Thanks for passing that on. That'll wrap us up for today. Let's wrap right there. So thank you once again, Nick, for today.
Thank you. It was great topics, brother.
It was great. And by the way, if you need help around advice or money management, or you lack the discipline, you struggle in this area, reach out to us. That's what we're here for. Reach out to us. You can hit us up on our Facebook group, which is Business Growth Advice Australia Facebook group, or just email us, askitupcoach.com.au, and maybe we can line up a strategy session or something like that for you, just to really help you out or give you some free advice. So those are the links there, or those are the email addresses, and we'll hear you all and speak to you all and see you all again on the next episode of Coaching Conversations real soon. So bye now.
Bye now.